G'day Zwifters, this is Zwift number 44, stage 2 after party. This is the Neon after party, 17.3 kilometre ride, 142 metres of incline, and we had 99 people signed up for the race. I think 99 people actually went over the start line. So the backstory to this was I didn't race home from work, but drove home from work in a hurry, knowing that I could just about catch this ride at 10 past 5. Got in at 5 past 5, got changed very, very quickly, went straight on the bike, joined the pen, obviously very far back, so had to put a great deal of effort to ride through the group and try and make sure that I stayed with the front group in case there was a split. So you can currently see that I'm 50th position, average watts over 250, and just making sure that I'm on the right side of any split if it occurs. There's a few people you can see in the mini map who've dropped off. I am putting a great deal of effort. I've only just noticed now, I'm sure it pops up later, but I've only noticed now that my heart rate is not showing up, although I did sync it when I joined Zwift, so not sure why it's not appearing at the moment, but I do recall looking at it through the race, so it must pop up at some point as I go through the race. So here's the first banner where we will pick up a power up, and in this situation it was an aero boost. So conscious that you can see on the mini map that you get 4. We've just been through the first, and I've got 3 more power ups to come, so want to be able to take advantage of this. You can also see on the mini map that the vast majority of the incline that we're having to negotiate is in the last few kilometers of the race. So any sustained period of high percentage incline is going to absolutely batter me with my weight at 92 kilograms. So I was just hoping to stay with these front riders as soon as for as long as possible. And you can see I'm currently there. It's saying I'm 57th position, and there's around about 2 or 3 riders behind me. So we're in a group of about 60 out the front here now. So let's see how this pans out as we go further into the race. So when I'm looking at the mini map here, you can see that we've got another power up coming along soon. So that was a time where I needed to make sure that I used my other power up. So I popped my aero boost at that point just to stay in touch with all the front riders. You can see that I'm well positioned. We're in a really big lob, which means there's going to be a huge drafting experience for all the riders in and around the front. You can see that there's around, I can't tell how many riders there are, but you can see there's some riders behind us. I think there was a lead of about 10 seconds, or a gap of around 10 seconds back to them. But at this point, I've got into a position where I'm quite far up in the group, so I'm really pleased with that. Uh, I'm sure I've identified some riders who I've ridden with before. Jeff Cycling Club is certainly one. He and I communicate quite a bit in the chat or in the video comments where we're discussing various different things. So he's certainly somebody I'm aware of. Andy Crabtree, I'm sure it's not the same Andy Crabtree, but when I used to be a football manager, my assistant manager was called Andy Crabtree. So can't imagine it's him, but that was an interesting fact. I've also seen Al Dennis riding before in some of these races, and I'll see if I can spot any other riders that I might be able to identify that I've ridden against previously. There's El Dennis, about 10 places below me at the moment in the positional map. So I've just received the second power up. You can see that I've got a drafting boost. I'm reasonably comfortable at the moment. My heart rate's around 155, which is okay. If it was down at 150, I'd be really pleased. Average watts is really high at 237, or at a good rate for me. So just keeping an eye on everything here, really. No need to pop the drafting boost yet. As you can see, that my heart rate is actually decreasing and my average watts is quite low, or my watts at that second were quite low. So yeah, just doing all right here. And that's the difficulty when you're riding with such a big group. You know, you'd be very foolish to ride off in front and uh, put out an extra 20-30 watts, because everybody would just sit on the back of you, and you'd be not using your power efficiently, so you just get caught. So I'm sitting in the group. I'd love to be pushing out more watts and seeing if I could extend my average watts, but like I said, it's just not worth it. So back in a group, uh, down to about 55 riders, I think we were at this point, uh, going through the casino and the arcade. So yeah, we are halfway through the race almost. 7.7 kilometers gone, 9.6 kilometers to go. But even though we're almost halfway through the race, we've only done around about a fifth of the incline. So we've got a big uh, section of incline to go, as you can see from the mini map.
Right on.
So as I commented before, you can see my heart rate is really low at 150. So I'm really, I wouldn't say cruising, but being quite efficient with how I'm riding. I'm riding at 230 or around about my average watts, which is really good, but keeping the heart rate really low. So that's showing me that I'm feeling nice and strong. I'm in a good position out in the group. I don't want to be right out the front, because that will cause my drafting to not be as efficient also. So not for any reason that I've just related all that to, but you can see that I sit a little bit further back in the group now, and I will gain more of a draft further back there. And just pop my drafting boost at this point, because I'm about to go through the third power up section, so I didn't want to lose the ability to pick up that third one, which you'll see is just around two more corners. So these windy sections here have a little bit of an incline, so I just push up through here, get up out of the seat. Watts peaked there at close to 500 watts for a few seconds. Jeff Cycling Club actually replied to me there, and it was a message from about 5 minutes previously, so I just asked him about a time delay back to America. But yeah, just pushing out there and making sure that I don't get lost or dropped at that point. But just 6 kilometers to go, and you can see from the mini map that we're not too far away, probably about 2-3 kilometers away from the start of the more serious inclines at the end of the race. So just keeping myself in and amongst the rest of the group. Heart rate's still good, average watts is still good, and feeling really good. So let's see how this continues.
Right on.
So we just start to climb up for a couple of 100 meters. and I'm just conscious that I want to keep my position really, really good, because if there is a split, I always want to be obviously in that front group. So I power off out into the front half a dozen there. And you can see in the mini map that we're all stretched, so I'm keeping a very, very close eye on that mini map to see if there is a split. But quite a few riders come through at this point, so I'm assuming that there is going to be no split. Two or three did drop off for a little bit, and they could not keep up with that front group, so we lost a couple there. But I still think we're probably still got a front group of around about 50, and we're down to 4 kilometers to go now, and soon we will start to climb up
Right on.
to the finish line. So here we are as we enter what looks like the equivalent to Spaghetti Junction in Zwift, and the hills start to come up at us quite quickly. So I'm up out of the seat on this one, hoping that I can maintain a good position, and I actually go up out the front, which is pleasing, but I don't know whether that creates alarm bells for the other riders. So I'm soon pulled back to the rest of the group, but I'm just hopeful one day I would just love to go up every single incline like that and to be able to keep a position at the front. But 20 riders have gone back past me now at this point, and you'll see in the mini map when that appears shortly, as we go up into the high rise buildings, that there's quite a few inclines to come, and I'm potentially unable to sustain that push to the end. But let's see how we go. I'm doing all right at the moment. Heart rate's quite high. Average watts is good, but wouldn't it be lovely just to push up through every single incline that is to appear? Here we go. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 orange sections here. So I'm just gently up out of the seat, and just trying to keep a good position with the rest of the group. And I can find that I find that I am more effective climbing than I was 3 months, but I still can't keep up with these riders at the front. I'm hoping that if I could get my weight into the 80s, maybe around 88, because I don't think I could get much less than that. If I could get into the 80s, high 80s, then that might help me a little bit with my climbing, because I'm aware that my
Right on.
watts are really high in comparison to lots of the other riders, but because their average watts and them being a lot lighter, it always shows up that they are far more efficient than I am. So here we go. You can see there's still more orange sections, and I'm back in 33rd position now. We've only got a kilometre to go, so I'm going to jump ahead to the riders at the front and slow the speed down of the video so you can watch some of the riders coming over the finish line. So I'm in 37th position here with P. Wilnans from Holland 8 seconds behind, but I'll start scrolling through. There's D. Stannard in 20th, J. Culp in 14th position, Jeff Cycling Kid. I called him Jeff Cycling Club before and I got it wrong. And then through to Sealbrook, who was in third for a little while. And you can see that there's a few riders ahead of Sealbrook, including Andy Crabtree, my old assistant manager at Mold Alex Football Club. So here we go. C. Albrook does lose contact with the front riders. You can't obviously see it because the camera's panned out, but he's back in 8th position now. So I try and alter who I am following. You can see that we've only got one bend to go. And I finally scroll through to Graham Hilditch, who's one U-turn away from taking the win. He's got a nice gap back to some of the other riders like Nick Hindle and Andrew Shocking, who you can see coming over the line here. Then we got Xavier Nays and various other riders. B. Burnston crossing the line. I just keep scrolling back now through the riders. G. Cron back in 23rd position, turning around that U-turn, putting a little bit of power in to catch a few. And then El Salvi. And I said that before I started scrolling through all the riders, I was back in 37th position. You can see my name right down in the bottom there. And this is where I get slightly confused with who I'm following. So I think I click on the back to me icon and find myself. Here we go now. There's a rider, Zlatan, in 41st position, and I'm one place behind him in 42nd position. So I've dropped 8 positions. I'm not sure where Wynyard's finished, on how much he actually gained on me, but he certainly improved his position, and I dropped a little bit of time whilst filming all those other riders. So I'll go through the top 10 now, and then hopefully get some of you to subscribe and we can get it over the 100 mark. So here's the top 10. Graham Hilditch, as I said, finishing in 27 minutes and 50 seconds, average watts of 3.2. Then we had Nick Hindle, 2.5 seconds behind him, averaging 3.5 watts, taking his racing score up over the 330s. Andrew Shocking in third, averaging 2.9 watts and just 3.5 seconds behind. Then we had Tim Lucas in fourth, Chris Ulbrook in fifth, Xavier Nays in sixth, Andy Crabtree in seventh position, averaging 3 watts, and everybody's been averaging over 3 watts apart from Andrew Shocking in third. Then eighth, a good result for Jeff Cycling Kid, averaging 2.9 watts and still only 6.5 seconds behind. Then we had Edwin Hagman in ninth position, followed by Scott Hamilton back in 10th position, but only 8 seconds behind. My statistics for the race were that I finished 59 seconds behind the leader, averaging 238 watts, which is 2.6 watts per kilogram, and maintained my racing score at 323, which is still the highest it's ever been. So yeah, pleased with how that's going. So hope you enjoyed the video. These after party videos seem to be quite popular, so I tried to do the Monday night one so that anybody wanted to do a recce of the course could watch the video. Hoping that some people will subscribe, and like I said, take it over the 100 subscribers. So hopefully you can help me with that, and take care, and I'll catch you all soon. Possibly Friday now I will do my next race. Okay, cheers, goodbye.